Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes your sources, articles, notes, whatever you've got, and, well, we dive deep to pull out the key insights for you. Think of it as your shortcut to getting really informed, maybe with a few surprising bits thrown in. So, let's talk tax season. For a lot of people, just saying the words brings on a little stress, right? It often feels like this mad dash at the end, papers flying, that sort of thing, something that just happens to you. But what if it didn't have to be like that? Today, we're diving into a pretty fascinating look at how one professional flips that script entirely. Our source is actually just a short video clip, but it gives this amazing window into how a tax preparer handles communication and, well, their whole operation. It's honestly about more than just taxes. Our mission today, let's unpack this proactive approach. We want to see how they manage information flow and, crucially, what you can take away from it. Doesn't matter if you use a tax pro, run a business, or just want to get better at managing information in your own life. I think there's something here for you. Okay, let's get into it. So the first thing that really leaps out from this video, it's this incredibly proactive first step they take. They talk about sending an email to all their clients, and they send it the very day the IRS starts accepting returns. It's not just some gentle nudge, it feels like a deliberate starting gun for tax season.
Yeah.
It really sets a tone, a clear expectation, like, okay, this is the day we start. That itself was kind of an aha for me.
What's really fascinating, like you said, is that specific timing. It's absolutely not random.
Right.
That day the IRS officially, opens the gates for e-filing, that's a huge benchmark for everyone involved.
Okay.
For preparers, it means, well, the software is usually ready, systems are go, the official window is open. And for clients, it signals the absolute earliest their return can even be processed. So if there's a refund, that's when its journey can actually begin.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
So by hitting send on that exact day, this professional isn't just like sending a memo. They're creating this clear, common starting line, an immediate call to action. It's basically saying, okay, the race is officially on and we're all starting together right now.
That immediate communication, it just clears things up from the get-go, doesn't it? Exactly. Sets those expectations, gets everyone aligned. It takes away that vague, oh, sometime soon feeling and makes it a very concrete today.
And I like that they acknowledge, people have their lives and their responsibilities.
Yeah.
Life carries on, tax season or not. But the key thing is, despite all that, they are, and they use the phrase, very proactive about getting the info they need.
Yeah.
It's not just hoping clients send stuff. It's this active, deliberate push to get that information flowing and keep it flowing.
Right. It's not passive. They understand people are busy, but a bit of structure, a bit of guidance from the pro, that can make a world of difference.
Definitely.
And this leads us straight into, well, the core principle behind how they operate. They say it very directly in the clip. The phrase of, the sooner the better really applies here.
Yeah.
Simple phrase.
Right.
It almost sounds like a cliche.
Yeah, you hear it all the time.
But in the context of taxes, its importance is huge, really immense. Okay, sooner the better. Let's unpack that. Why is it so critical? Obviously less stress maybe, but what are the deeper reasons this matters so much for the client, for you listening?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, getting things in early,
Yeah.
it sets off this whole chain reaction of benefits. It's way more than just, convenience. First off, and maybe this is the most critical, accuracy and compliance.
Okay.
When documents arrive early, there's actually time to look them over properly, spot if something looks off, or realize, hey, we're missing something here.
Right, before the April crunch hits?
Exactly. And this isn't just about catching typos, though that helps too. It's about finding potentially complex things early, like maybe unexpected stock sales on a brokerage statement you forgot about, or income from that side hustle you started, which needs specific handling for deductions. Finding those early, it dramatically cuts down the chance of errors that could cause delays, or worse, audits, maybe even penalties.
Yeah.
We all want to avoid that frantic search for a lost 1099 in April, right? Then there's another big one, often overlooked. Protection against tax identity theft.
Oh, interesting. How does that work?
Well, the IRS generally processes returns in the order they get them, chronologically. So if you file early, your correct, legitimate return gets logged first. That makes it much, much harder for a scammer to file a fake return using your info.
Ah, okay. So it's like getting your flag planted first.
Precisely. It's a really valuable proactive shield against a crime that's incredibly frustrating and potentially expensive to sort out.
Wow, okay. That's a big one.
And then there's the efficiency side, for both sides, really. Spreading the work out over weeks, maybe months, instead of jamming it all into those last few days, it lets the preparer manage their time better. Give each return the focus it actually needs.
Makes sense.
And for you, the client, it just means a smoother, less frantic experience, that feeling of dread we mentioned. A lot of that comes from putting it off, from that last-minute rush.
Yeah, absolutely.
Filing early just kind of diffuses that pressure, gives you back your mental energy, what I sometimes call mental bandwidth reclamation.
Huh. I like that. Mental bandwidth reclamation. Totally get that. Just having it off your plate.
Exactly. You're not wasting brain power worrying about it because you've already acted.
So the professional in the clip, they specifically mention getting certain documents early. The sooner I can get W-2s, the sooner I can give the brokerage statements. Foundational stuff. But what does that actually mean? When those arrive, what happens? What does get the ball rolling on the preparation process look like behind the scenes?
Right. So once those key documents land, your W-2s showing wages, 1099s for investments, or freelance work, those detailed brokerage statements, it's way more than just putting them in a pile. For the preparer, it means they can jump right into the tax software, start the data entry, run some initial calculations, do a first pass review, and this is where that proactivity really shines. They can start populating your return, maybe flag potential deductions or credits right away based on what they see, and crucially, spot anything that's missing or needs clarification way before the deadline crunch.
So they can see problems early.
Exactly. Like, say a brokerage statement shows some complex stuff like wash sales or maybe big stock sales where they need the cost basis info.
Right.
Catching that early means they can just reach out calmly, ask you for the details or the extra document needed without it being a five-alarm fire. Or maybe a W-2 hints you earned income in a new state. They can check on residency, make sure the state filing is handled correctly. Again, no last-minute panic.
Avoids those frantic April phone calls. I need this document right now.
Precisely. It shifts the whole process. Instead of reactive scrambling under pressure, it becomes this methodical, thoughtful workflow, like an architect laying the foundation properly before trying to put up the walls.
That's a great analogy. It really shows how those early documents are. Well, they're like keys, aren't they? Unlocking a smoother path.
They really are.
It paints this picture of control, not chaos.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back to the listener. To you. All this planning, this early action from the tax pro. What does it ultimately mean for you, the client? We've talked less stress, which is huge, but what are the tangible benefits?
Oh, the direct advantages are pretty significant. First, yes, dramatically smoother, way less stressful tax season. You're not tearing your hair out looking for papers at the last minute. Which, by the way, often leads to mistakes or forgetting something important, that awful feeling.
Yeah, I've been there.
Second, it creates time for important questions. If your preparer sees something odd or needs you to clarify, there's no mad rush. You can calmly find what they need. You can actually discuss things, maybe understand the impacts of certain transactions, or even talk strategy, like about capital gains or optimizing retirement contributions.
That's valuable, having time for actual advice, not just data entry.
Exactly. Third, the very practical bit, potentially getting your refunds sooner. The IRS generally works first in, first out.
Right.
File early, potentially get paid early. That can be a real financial plus for many people.
Absolutely.
And finally, it pretty much wipes out the need for those last-minute errors or having to file an extension. Extensions can sometimes mean penalties, and they definitely don't help your peace of mind. So this whole proactive approach, it directly tackles that feeling of being overwhelmed by information that so many people associate with tax time.
Yeah.
It breaks this huge, daunting task down into smaller, manageable steps taken early, turns that mountain into, a series of little hills.
That makes so much sense. And looking at it from the professional side, it seems like a clear win-win for them too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
This proactive style must really help them manage their own workload and logically deliver better quality service because of it.
You've got it. This approach lets the professional escape that classic tax season feast or famine cycle. Dead quiet, then suddenly buried under a mountain of returns right before the deadline.
Yeah.
Instead, they can aim for a more consistent, manageable workflow throughout the season. And that consistency, it translates directly into more thoughtful, more comprehensive service. It backs up that idea that, knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied, which is incredibly hard to do when you're rushing through stacks of files under intense time pressure.
Right. You can't really think strategically then.
Exactly. They actually have the mental space to look for opportunities for their clients to really analyze the details, maybe offer advice that saves money or prevents future headaches. They're not just acting like, well, data entry clerks. It elevates the whole relationship, makes it less of a transaction and more of a partnership.
It really is striking how much we could pull just from that short clip, focusing on the power of thinking ahead and clear communication. This dive really highlights the huge upside of being proactive, especially with something people often dread, like taxes. Set the stage early, keep things moving, really embrace that sooner the better idea.
And this does raise, I think, an important question for you listening. How can this principle, this proactive information gathering, this clear communication that this tax pro uses so well, how could you apply that in other parts of your life? Think about other recurring tasks, maybe things that cause you stress. Could be managing a project at home, like a renovation, or maybe preparing for your annual review at work, planning a big family trip. Is there an area where starting early, communicating clearly what's needed, and valuing that early input could change things? Turn that chaotic rush into something, well, smoother, more efficient. Could you fire your own starting gun somewhere else in your life?
That is a fantastic thought to end on. Where else can we fire that starting gun? A big thank you for joining us on this deep dive into proactive tax prep and really the power of getting ahead of the game. We hope you feel a bit more informed, maybe a little less worried about the next tax season, and perhaps even inspired to apply some of this proactivity elsewhere. Thanks